Right, so in today's video, I got an incredible platinum journey for your faces. Oh my god, I loved every minute of it. 007 First Light exceeded my expectations by an absolute mile. So as always, if you do enjoy the video, please do drop a like and subscribe if you're new, as it really does help the channel grow, as well as dropping a comment down below of what you think I should platinum next. Any links or guides that I used to help obtain this platinum will be linked below. Let's get into this. So the game kicks off with us on a helicopter heading out into mission, and it looks like we are part of the army out on deployment, so we aren't even in MI6 yet, which is great because we get to see the little backstory. The main premise of this mission is to check out some scientists that have been running some experiments, and yet they haven't checked in with us for days. Then in typical James Bond fashion, the action starts right away as the helicopters are being shot down. James Bond here gets his helicopter shut down and looks to be dead, but it turns out the water is some kind of Lazarus pit as he revives himself from the dead. The next bit here was just kind of stumbling around trying to avoid enemies and getting a feel for the gaming mechanics, and let me tell you, this game was honestly quite smooth, very much like the Hitman games, which for me, I just really enjoyed. During this point of the game, I was making my way over to that camp that we were originally meant to set out to reach, and it turns out it had been taken over by some sort of terrorist group. So the MI6 handler in my ear guided my way through this section of the mission. As far as trophies go for this game, there are a bunch of collectibles that I use a guide for, which will be linked below. Then there are a load of combat trophies, which most of them you will get naturally, and of course pretty much everything else was unmissable story trophies, other than a couple online trophies that we'll get to towards. So carrying on, I had to save these hostages from the camp before blowing the entire thing to pieces, but by doing this I did land my first trophy of the game. Icebreaker. Here we go. Survive the helicopter crash. First trophy of the game. I also like that I can view these and it pauses the game, which is great. First trophy, let's go. And that was the prologue done before hit with an insane title screen with a song done by Lana Del Rey that I obviously can't show because the video will get blocked in like 90 million countries, but trust me, it was a banger. Our antics on the previous mission caught good wind of MI6, so clearly I had to go to the headmaster's office and get a telling off. This is where we meet M, who is the one in charge of the 00 regime, and she is clearly taking a liking to us, and we get signed up immediately. Well, first obviously we've got to go through all the training, so we get flown out to Malta to carry all of this out, and this is where we meet Greenway, who is this like senior spy who has a lot of involvement with the 00s, and basically the relationship with these two is like hot and cold in the sense that Greenway hates Bond and doesn't believe he should be a 00, and there is always a conflict or disagreement between them. The training involved basic combat, driving, which was honestly super fun, and then basic mission operations. During this training I did get one of the combat trophies for disarming an enemy by shooting a weapon out of their hands, but yeah, this training with some more character development. We met a girl called Cressida and then this guy called Monroe, who clearly had it out for us from the jump. Then with all that training out of the way, I got sent back to MI6 to actually be accepted as a spy before revealing the big plot of the game. M takes us to this supercomputer AI thing called Thea, and its purpose is to predict crimes and attacks before they even happen, so as you can imagine, it is very important that MI6 keeps this to themselves, as it could be very dangerous in the wrong hands. So my first job as a 00, we go out and get some gadgets from Q. I loved every bit of this side of the game. The gadgets honestly made the gameplay so fun to go through from start to finish. Oh, and I forgot to mention that MI6 handler that helped us earlier in the beginning of the game. Well, this is this woman here called Moneypenny. She's going to be very useful for us later on. From here, it was then back to Malta to carry out all of the rest of the training, which spanned over a year, and the trio Bond, Monroe, and Cressida all got closer together as they are now living together in London. This training was honestly just a cutscene montage for the most part, but I do get a trophy for completing my training as a recruit in Malta. Then it was time to do our actual first spy mission as a 00. In this nightclub, I basically had to gather some information on a trade deal that was about to go down, and this would reveal some state secrets from the UK, so it's best that we got on top of that. I was tasked with finding someone red in the bar, and I stumbled across this absolute baddie in red, but it turns out I was actually meant to meet this other bloke instead. What a letdown. So when I went to the restrooms to find some information on this data leak, it turns out the guy that I am looking for is also in the nightclub. How convenient. Just as I was about to leave, the boyfriend of that woman in the red dress pulls up looking for a scrap. So obviously I had to beat the brakes off him and make this dude look like an absolute fool before carrying on with the mission. I find the guy who I'm actually meant to look for, who has the intel, and then I trap him in the restrooms before it was then time to impersonate him and speak to his connect. His contact turned out to be this absolute goth baddie. Honestly, I swear most of the females in this game were just straight smoke shows. Then the smoke show in the red dress turns up and it turns into some weird threesome gone wrong, but we do manage to secure the deal and protect that data leak. With that done, we leave the nightclub and I get a trophy for completing my first assignment. Then it was back to MI6 where M told us about the real story of this game. So the main plot line was basically this rogue 00 agent, which was 009, has completely gone off the rails and is plotting against MI6. This is sort of the main reason the 00s got shut down in the first place, so now it's my job to find this guy, take him down, keep MI6 protected. It sounds simple enough, right? So first things first, it was off to Q to get some more gadgets to help us with this mission, and this mission takes us on a drive to this insane hotel in the middle of the mountains in Slovakia. Unfortunately for us, we got told to stay and guard the car, but we noticed this suspicious looking bellboy that yeeted a case off the balcony, and that is not very 7-star treatment of him. So I gotta go check it out. Not even gonna lie to you guys, I spent about an hour in this hotel just looking around, getting all of the collectibles to find this bellboy, and then I finally found him, and honestly I wish I never did. We enter the room and we see a body on the floor, and it is Monroe, and he is dying now in our arms. Honestly, even though these two didn't get along at first, they did build a strong friendship, and I just wasn't expecting this death at all. And I thought this guy was going to be the mole in the MI6, not to become a best friend and then die in our arms. So that only means one thing, and it is time to beat the ever-living brakes off this blonde-haired biatch. But it turns out this dude was a twin, and there was two of them, which is great for me because I get to smack the crap out of him twice, but unfortunate because I had to wait as they had a bomb planted and timed, so they ran off leaving me to disarm the bomb. Of course, I disarm it and the explosion does happen. However, I do get a trophy as I was expected to die in the hotel of Slovakia. Cressida and Greenway were also caught in this explosion, but Cressida has her legs crushed, then having no feeling in them, but Greenway takes care of her as I go pursuing 009. And as I was robbing this Aston Martin, another baddie hops in the passenger seat. We did actually get to see her earlier, and long story short, she is another spy called Isola, who's just honestly just a French baddie. After doing this little car chase, I ended up in an airfield where I managed to get one of the combat trophies for shooting a dude as he was throwing a grenade. Then somehow I managed to hijack this big ass plane and then sending it into the ground before jumping out in typical bomb fashion and making it back to ground safely. I then get a fitting trophy called Skyfall for jumping out of that plane. This chapter ends off at the funeral of one of the agents alongside Cressida in a wheelchair, clearly unable to use her legs, so that's her out of commission. She was being wheeled out by this guy called Sir Nicholas Webb, who you are going to want to remember for later on. Then it was back to the headmaster's office where M tells Greenway and I that I have to go out hunting for 009. So it's up to Bond and Greenway here to find this 009, meaning we had to head out into Africa. As far as game locations goes, honestly, this place I left was sick. It was a town that was basically built from a shipwreck. It was like this huge bazaar of contraband, weapons, drugs, you name it, they had it. It's also where they auction off a load of black market stolen tech. So it looked like we were in the right place. But the main reason we are here is we are looking for the leader of this place, and he is about to hold an auction with some tech that MI6 desperately wants back. However, in order to get access to this auction, we needed $100,000 in cash to enter. So I did this by hacking a crypto wallet and then entering an underground fight ring where I'm 99% sure I fought Francis Ngannou, but swiftly moving on for that. Greenway and I enter this auction, and oh boy did it look like a place I'd love to go in real life. Anyways, we are bidding against these guys to try and get Ali's attention here by winning the auction, and obviously I get a trophy for completing that. Ali was the one hosting this auction, and he did give us some information on the location of 009. So of course we head over to his boat and I go looking for him. And as soon as I got there, we open the door, 009's body is right there, out dead and cold. Looks like somebody got to him first, so we now got to figure out who that was. But hey, at least with his death, it gave me a trophy, so I can't complain. So obviously we thought 009 was rogue in the sense that he was trying to screw over MI6, but it kind of turns out that he wasn't as bad as we thought, and he actually had intel that was useful for us. It was only a matter of time before somebody caught up to us snooping, and the leader of this place was about to feed us to some alligators, so that was absolute great fun. Greenway does manage to get us out of here though by saying a name to him, which I assume is like a daughter or something. I don't even know, but we're safe now. So then we go snooping on this other boat to find some information on 009, and it turns out he was the target and not the culprit, so that threw a spanner in the works for us. Now onto the escape here. It was non-stop running and gunning. I want to use this time to say how much I hated the fact that there was hardly any ammo, and I constantly either ran out or had to pick up another gun. It was annoying as anything, and yes, I know I could have used the environment to kill, but whatever. This all led to Greenway and Bond pinned down, but at the last second we got saved by that terror group of Aleph, and I get a trophy for surviving the ambush so I could make it back to MI6 safely. Being back safely didn't last long, as I was the victim of an assassination attempt in my own apartment, so that was lovely, but I made light work of this idiot before hunting down the sniper, and look who it is. It is one of the blonde twins, and in typical gaming fashion, he slips through our fingers once again. At least I get a trophy for being a hard man to kill and surviving the assassination attempt. Right, so this smoothly led into this gala that Nicholas Webb, you know, the guy that we met earlier, big, rich, nerdy tech guy, yeah, it's just a gala that he is holding. And then for the next 40 minutes or so, I was running around like a headless chicken to find a CCTV room so I could pinpoint the location of the assassin that literally just tried to kill me. So then I found Blondie here once again, and we get our first boss fight of the game, you know, like health bar and everything. It was really fun, and in order to take him out I had to use the environment around me rather than just a straight brawl. The fight was honestly pretty easy, and it ended up with a way more gruesome ending than I expected, as I threw him into this trident looking thing, but honestly well deserved in my opinion after he did kill Monroe. I did then get a trophy for killing him, and of course what a satisfying trophy it was to get. On the way out we were heading to meet Webb, and it turns out he's the one behind all of this, and we are then stopped by Isola once again. She just seems to get her nose in anything. We both meet this guy called Damien, who is actually Nicholas Webb's son, and now all of the character connections are starting to piece together. But this Damien is going to be a problem for the rest of the game, as he drugs us both here and takes us into an interrogation room, as he now knows that we were getting information on his dad. Isola and I obviously managed to get our way out of here, as he leaves one of his goons to take care of us. We'll be seeing a lot more of Isola later on. Now, right, I need to get my ass out of here, and it was another run and gun styled escape mission, which was super easy to get through. In before, this epic scene played where we took a bin lorry through the streets of London before pulling up to Greenway, as some of Webb's men were also after him. Obviously, him being a great spy, he made light work of them. But by being an agent under fire, I got a trophy for escaping in that bin lorry. Greenway and I now headed into Webb's headquarters to gather some information, well, just as much information as we could from his office. So now is the task of actually breaking in. And look who we ran into again just as we were about to reach Webb's penthouse. It's Isola, and she clearly seems to be getting her intel better than us, so she just seems to be one step ahead. But I guess an enemy of my enemy is my friend, as we team up with her now taking down Webb. Then I get a trophy for entering the penthouse. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting trophies for doing absolutely nothing at this point, but a free dopamine hit, I guess. While in the penthouse, I found this hidden safe, getting the command code for this, which is going to be very important later on. Webb and Damien then show up, so I eavesdrop on them, finding out that they're about to head to Vietnam, so I guess that's where I'm going next. But not before heading to this command center to gather the rest of the evidence to find out what Webb is actually planning. So the evidence we found is that Thea, that big AI computer, has actually been making mistakes this whole time, and is the main reason that the Double O's got shut down in the first place, as Thea was giving the Double O's false intel, so they were pretty much set up for failure. Then the big man himself, Webb, shows up trying to justify his wrongs before leaving us to die essentially. Then of course another huge run and gun escape, where I end up in a helicopter that was piloted by Greenway, so that was sick. Then with no time to die, I get a trophy for escaping in a helicopter. So it was back to MI6 and everything had gone wrong. MI6 is basically now in a lockdown mode, so Moneypenny takes us through this secret door into a secret service. We meet M, and she is showing us some footage that Webb has of us breaking into its HQ. So from now on, we aren't actually officially MI6 acting as a Double O, but M is like indirectly giving us the green light to take him down. Luckily, Q was still on our side, so I grabbed some equipment before venturing off to Vietnam, and oh boy was it beautiful. Someone needs to find me this resort IRL, and I'll take my PS5 there, get a platinum trophy while I'm there. Barely 5 minutes into arriving at this resort, I stumble into this absolute worldie of a woman. Oh my god, I know that the head character design of this game was an absolute diamond ranked gooner. Basically for this section of the game, I had to find 3 people and make sure they were safe from Damien. That worldie that we saw earlier, obviously she was one of the people that I needed to protect, and I'll leave my face cam on for this reaction because my god was she my type of woman and then some. Then Moneypenny's reaction just speaks for us all here. But after blowing her back out, we went out to this party, and in typical James Bond fashion, when I got sidetracked, she got taken by Damien and his goons, so I then had to go find her. Now in order to get to her, I had to shoot down so many guys, it felt like a Bonnie Blue lineup. But upon reaching her, the other twin was here ready to get his revenge for me killing his brother. Of course, he didn't last long, and as I am escaping the building, it explodes and I get another trophy, but this time for saving the brunette baddie. But that explosion has knocked us out, and we are now somehow tied up with Damien about to kill us, so things move really fast. At the last second though, before I was about to die, a bullet hits the straps, allowing us to escape, and it was actually Greenway that was the sniper shooting from a distance over us. Then obviously this was another run and gun styled escape through a whole bunch of enemies, but during this escape I got a trophy for knocking out an enemy by shooting him in the legs. Greenway gives us some great cover fire for us here, but he does get tagged by a bullet, and I'm here praying this guy doesn't die because we've built up honestly quite the good connection with him now. This then allows us to go fight the main man himself, Damien, and Damien then injects himself with the latest peptides, and then it was just a straight boss battle. The fight, as you can imagine, was pretty easy. We used the environment around us and made light work of him fairly quickly, in before dropping a bunch of pipes onto him and finally putting an end to this guy. So with him then taken care of, it was time to check back on Greenway, and it wasn't good. Yeah, that bullet wound was the cause of his death, and honestly it was pretty sad. I didn't think that I would enjoy this character development that much, but damn, I didn't want to see him die, especially after losing Monroe already. I thought we were all out of deaths. But I then got a trophy for defeating Damien Webb. MI6 is now upside down, and I guess we are now the rogue agent as we are acting under no jurisdiction. Then upon leaving MI6, I get a trophy for leaving as a rogue agent. Crazy how it's all now fitting together. I was getting trophies for doing absolutely nothing. Safe to say retirement didn't look too bad here as we were on a fancy yacht with Isola, but of course this did not last long as we entered this submarine that took us to Antarctica. Arriving in Antarctica, we go into this secret facility of Webb's, and it is time to steal some IDs so that we can actually go deeper into it and get the information we require. During this exploration, I managed to get one of the collectible trophies for discovering all of the legacy items, but carrying on with the story, we end up hacking this computer and we find out there is another version of Thea that they had the whole time, so it was two enemies working against each other. So we now got to fight our way through to Hyperion, which is their version of Thea, since everyone and their goldfish now knew we were hunting for it. Finally though, I do make it to Hyperion and Webb is right there waiting for us. However, he has a dead man switch, so I can't shoot him and then move on with my day, because if he dies then all of MI6's information gets leaked, so this is far from ideal. Then just as I was about to talk some sense into this guy, Isla comes through the door and shoots him in the stomach, meaning I had to tend to him while Isla went over and took Hyperion for herself and leaving us without it. Yeah, I can't believe she snaked us. There's no point showing the chase scene here as it is literally just another running and gunning type extraction. But yeah, I was honestly just getting sick and tired of these by this point. But finally, upon reaching her on the ice, she had nowhere to go and the chase was over. She had lost. I do then get a trophy for catching Isla, and honestly it felt like this was the end of the story, but oh boy was I wrong. We end up in an MI6 prison cell and Isla was in the opposite cell, so I guess our ties with MI6 are done. However, the alarms start going off, the cell doors open, and I guess it was time to escape once again. And yep, you guessed it, more running and gunning to escape. Well, at least during this I got another collectible trophy for getting all of the postcards. Then I got another collectible trophy for unlocking all of the MI6 files. Also, don't forget that any links that I did use for these collectibles will be linked in the description below. So I reached there and look who it is. Somehow Damien survived and he had this massive suit on, which is clearly the thing that is keeping him alive. But Damien and his goons are ransacking MI6 and they are taking Thea's core with him. While sneaking around, I managed to get another collectible trophy here for collecting all of the mementos. This was then very shortly followed by one of the combat trophies for disarming an enemy with a laser. And then I finally got my hands on the Aston Martin Valhalla, and as a car guy myself and then seeing this earlier in the game, I was just itching to drive it, and literally 10 minutes straight I was shooting the guns and doing donuts and killing everyone. Oh, bro, it was awesome. I wanted more of that. Then honestly, seeing Damien destroy this car was more heartbreaking than seeing Greenway and Monroe die. Bro, I want one of these cars so bad. But I chased down Damien and there is one final boss fight with him and I get to go through it, and to be honest, it wasn't anything special at all. We're clearly outmatched, so I can't straight up brawl him, so I had to use the environment to take him down. But it did lead to a phase 2 of the fight where I got to use these cool auto aiming turrets to take him out, which I guess was quite cool. And then just as I was about to execute him, he sets off a bomb and walks away. But it does kick off a phase 3 of the fight. Well, kind of. Obviously this didn't last too long as Bond knew he clearly was outmatched. So then Bond took both of them and dropped him in the water. Obviously his suit was electrical, but Bond was locked in Damien's arms. And then out of nowhere, Isola comes straight through and swoops in and takes Thea from Damien's body. And thank the Lord, I thought she was going to leave us, but she does swoop back in to save us. And well, she does walk off with Thea, so that isn't good news. However, I do get a trophy for defending MI6 for king and country. The story is at its end now at the funeral of Greenway, and M comes over to us pretty much telling us that I am now a 00 agent once again, as our heroics had done good for the United Kingdom. She wants me to do some digging on the organization that Isola works for in an attempt to hopefully get back Thea in MI6 hands. But as always, I'm gonna leave you with my raw thoughts and reaction to the story, because honestly, it did exceed my expectations by a mile. So enjoy that, and then it's time to jump into the cleanup. Dude, that is awesome. Is that it? There we go. Bro, do you know what? I thought this game was going to be like a 6 out of 10. But honestly, I'm not saying it's game of the year. I think it is getting glazed online. But it was a very, very good... we get another one. We get another one. It was a really, really good story. It genuinely felt proper James Bond. The cars, everything. I really liked it. I liked all the tech and everything. It was so good. It was such a good game. The gameplay was like a little bit finicky here and there, but it was actually just so fun. I highly, highly recommend this. I think I've got some cleanup trophies to do. There's like a little online mode or something that I need to do. I did miss a collectible as well, so I need to go get that. But yeah, let's go get into the cleanup, get this platinum. Hopefully it's not too much of a chore, and get my real thoughts on how good this game actually was, because my god, the story was genuinely so good. It was so fun from start to finish. I've actually loved all of it. Like, there wasn't really a bit in here which I just didn't like. Let's go get that cleanup. Right, so first things first with the cleanup, and it was time to get one of the collectibles that I missed. So I got a trophy for collecting all of the playing cards. Then this was instantly followed up by getting the trophy for collecting all of the collectibles. And then it was time to move into TacSim, which is combat training simulator. Honestly, it was quite fun, and I got a trophy for completing one of the escalation missions right off the rip. Took 30 seconds. Genuinely not even 5 minutes after this, I got a trophy for beating tier 3 of an escalation in the TacSim. One of the great things about these missions is they're a fantastic place to get the remaining combat trophies, like this one here for hacking a grenade before it explodes, and then this one here for giving an enemy a not so soft landing by tackling him off a ledge, then another one for pushing an enemy into a fire extinguisher. This was then followed by this random ass one for using a gadget to escape confrontation. I don't really know how I didn't get this one playing normally, but whatever. I then got a trophy for completing one of the operation mission types in TacSim, which was immediately followed by achieving clearance level 3. So let's keep moving forward onto this platinum, baby. The last trophy I needed to get was making an enemy taser another enemy. So I'll let this one play out as you enjoy my reaction to getting the platinum trophy on this incredible game. So as always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment on what you think I should platinum next. Prepare yourself for an absolute yap about how much I enjoyed this game, because honestly, it deserves every word of it. Oh, there you go. Positively shocking. I didn't even do the trophy. That was completely bugged, but this is it. This is the... Here we go. We're about to get it. We're about to get the platinum trophy. The name's Bond. James Bond. Collect all trophies. Those combat trophies were a pain in the ass. Some of them were a little bit buggy for me. May not be like that for you, but oh my god, what a platinum journey. What a platinum experience. That was genuinely so good. The story was absolutely phenomenal. I think I probably spent around 14 hours on the game, 15 hours on the game. Probably at this point, there will be a graphic on the screen showing exactly how many hours were on the game, as I don't think you can check in the actual game itself. But this was a really good game. I genuinely thought this was going to be like your basic 6 out of 10 game, but the story was actually phenomenal. Like, it was really good. And then just the general gameplay mechanics and all of that. I really enjoyed this game. I've got no complaints, and we know that we're going to get another one, which is just even better. This is just like Hitman, but reskinned, and I love that. I actually do. You could be creative when you wanted to be creative in order to take out different enemies. That's just what we want out of a game, the ability to kind of do what we want. This game was honestly amazing. I think a lot of people are probably holding off on the game because of like, oh, it's not going to be that good, but genuinely, I think this is worth it. This is genuinely worth it. This was an amazing game. I don't know how this video is going to turn out, but my god, play this game. It was really good. We've just had Lego Batman and now this, and then we're gonna get Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced coming soon. Bro, gaming in 2026 is the one. Maybe GTA 6 at the end of the year. Well, we know what that's gonna be like. We never know, but come on. Bro, I'm so hyped. I've actually come off this and really enjoyed it more than I thought that I would. Well, as always, if you did enjoy the video, please be sure to drop a like, a comment, and subscribe if you're new. Actually, while you're down there in the comments, drop a little comment of what you think I should platinum next. And I'll see you in the next one. I have no idea what it's going to be. I just like playing random games. I've got no theme, no premise, no whatever. I just play what I want to play. It's been amazing. What an amazing game, man. What an amazing game. Try it. Very short, but such a good game. But I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.